Well, good morning, everyone. It's Monday, March 2nd. This morning here on the farm, it was minus 24 degrees centigrade. And with the exceptionally cold winter we've had, virtually all of the water bodies in the local area are frozen over. The only exception are faster moving streams and creeks. These areas become refuges in the winter for any waterfowl that happen to remain in the area. This year, we've got a special treat on the creek down at Verona. A group of trumpeter swans have decided to take up refuge there for most of the winter. It's really nice to go down and see them and enjoy their beauty through the winter. The trumpeter swan has a very interesting history throughout North America. It's the largest swan in North America, and at one time there were thought to be several 100,000 of them across the continent, basically ranging from Alaska in the north, from coast to coast, and down to the Gulf states in the United States and all through Canada. And that was the case until the pioneers arrived, and then quickly thereafter they were diminished greatly in numbers through excessive hunting for meat as well as for the feather trade for fashion and ladies' hats and things like that, which is quite despicable. But anyhow, their numbers declined and declined until the point they were almost extinct by the late 1880s, although I think there were still some people felt there were small groups of them here and there scattered around, mainly out west. They remained that way until the 1980s in Ontario, Canada here. And then a group of people led by Harry Lumsden, a biologist with the Ministry of Natural Resources here in Ontario, decided to put forth an effort to recover the species. So through the dedicated efforts of those people, they basically brought the species back from where it was then with virtually no wild members in the population and to a point now where there's thought to be around 3,000 to 3,500 birds in Ontario. So quite an amazing recovery. But what they did, this group of people working to recover the species, initially was to get wild eggs from these small localized groups up in Alaska and Wisconsin and I think out in Alberta. They got some eggs from those trumpeter swans and they brought them here to Ontario, and they had mute swans, which are a non-native swan. They had them rear them up in nests scattered around south central Ontario, and that worked very well apparently and brought back a number of individuals. And shortly thereafter, these people got involved in developing a captive breeding program. So that was their main driving force from then on, I think, was the captive breeding program, whereby eggs would be brought in again from other places and then they'd be reared up in captivity, and then those birds, once they grew, would be let go in different places in Ontario. And that worked out very successfully for the species, thankfully. I believe there are now estimated to be about 60 to 75,000 or so trumpeter swans across North America. So that's a pretty good recovery. Now, there was an opportunity to recover this species, I just want to point out, because unlike many species that are very rare or endangered, there was still habitat remaining for these species. It wasn't a habitat issue for the most part that caused them to decline. It was the overhunting that took place in the early days, in the early 1800s. Once that stopped, and once people put forth an effort to try to recover them at a more quick rate, then they had a better chance at survival. So at this creek on the south side of Verona, as I've mentioned, there's been this group of trumpeter swans there most of the winter. And there's anywhere from 5 to 20 of them, I believe. Some days I go there and there's not too many, and then other days I see quite a number of them. they seem to be doing well, and soon, with the weather warming up, at least expected to warm up later this week and into next week, more water should be opening up for them and other waterfowl as well. And eventually all the lakes and rivers and things will open up, and then there'll be free rein for all the waterfowl to move wherever they want. Anyhow, I thought I'd make a video about the trumpeter swans since they're close by and handy to photograph and take video of, and it's been enjoyable to see them through the winter. Thinking back to the fact that just in the 1980s, and I remember this quite well as a birder then too, that trumpeter swans were on the endangered species list, and you virtually had no chance of seeing them at all. So we've gone quite a ways from those days, which is nice to say.